Bases dropped on a wall past Wednesday, and I am not Madison Cruz. That's the first thing we're going to do this morning, other than fix my hair, which seems to have a mind of its own. So traditionally, the last person to dive in and use things is the one whose name pops up. And because of Atlanta soccer tonight last night, Maddie jumped it, and she was the last person to put anything in there. So now I am no longer Maddie Cruz. John, here you there. Thanks for dropping by on a wall past Wednesday. Anything's possible, and everything's probable. In 9:15, traditionally, Tyler Pilgrim, Scarves and Spikes joins us, and we will discuss the team announcement that happened last night involving Garth Lagerwey, and we will walk through that a little bit, and we'll get into MLS Cup Playoffs, and we will also discuss a couple of folks that you got to see with Atlanta United, too. They got some international call-up news. Very, very cool stuff for a couple of the U's for Atlanta United, too. So all that in Wall Pass Wednesday stuff in hour number one. In hour number two, trying to see if we can catch up with the busiest man in the Northeast, Dylan Butler, MLSsoccer.com. Obviously, we can talk about decision day with Dylan. Get ready for the playoffs. Remember, we have our wild card games tonight. The 8-9s are tonight, and we'll go over juice boxes and look at those matchups as well. We've got Champions League to get into from yesterday. 9,000 goals were scored. We'll get into all of that and all of the news of the morning that we can get into there. 10:30, we got a treat. And it is very, very rare, and I have to ask how this happened, but the USCPMNT got an invite down to a rather prestigious tournament in Argentina, and they came out on top. And so you get a United States club, United States side, U.S. soccer side, going down and taking care of business, and we catch up with the USCPMNT head coach, Stuart Sharp. He joins us at 10:30. We break down how you get invites to these kinds of things and about the tournament itself and how you come up on top and get the medals and the trophy, and you get to bring it home, and really cool stuff across the board there. As a side note, we're going to catch up with Jacob Crumley from the CPMNT, and that will be running tomorrow. Portion of it tomorrow, and we'll also run that on social media, and you'll see the interview with Jacob coming up. But we're going to catch up with Jacob after the show this morning on tape, catch up with Stuart Sharp, and find out what the experience was like to go down to South America and come back with medals and trophies. So that's going to be very, very cool. That's coming up at 10:30. And then obviously we've got all the other news and everything that's going on that we will be catching up with as we go. Now, quick reminder on the week. Tomorrow's fairly normal as of right now. I say as of right now. Hour number one, traditionally wide open. That's what we'll get into. We'll discuss more Champions League and Europa League and all the leagues and things like that since they're in the group phase. Then Power Hour is in hour number two with Nino and Nico. And Nino Torres from Gold TV and Nico Moreno. We have to discuss the injury of Pedro de la Vega, how that impacts everything in Seattle, and how that's going to look for the playoffs going forward and the adjustments possibly that Seattle may have on the field. You're getting some players back, but you lose PDV. So we'll find out from Nico what's going on in the mind of Brian Schmetzer. That'll be at 10:30 tomorrow. Friday is stacked. Getting you ready for the weekend right now. Lucas Panzica, our friend from 104.5 The Zone in Nashville. And if you don't follow Lucas on the IG, the Insta or the Gram or whatever the kids call it, Lucas has a promo up and running for the boys in gold, Nashville SC, as they get ready for the playoffs. So we'll catch up with Lucas and have him bat leadoff on Friday morning. See if we can catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring at 9:30. Efforting, our weekly guest from Major League Soccer at 10. We'll find out what that rundown looks like. And then at 10:30, our friend Will Pelagic, play-by-play voice of Charlotte FC, is going to join us, and he's going to give us a bit of the intel heading into their matchup, where they're going to be missing a big piece of their firepower because he got a red card last time out. And we talked about that yesterday. If you missed that conversation with Casey White, because the Wonder Twins, KCD and Jess Charman, called the NYC Charlotte match, got to see the red card from Zaha, and KCD talked about it a little bit. We'll find out from Willie P what he thinks about it and how that impacts things. He did have news yesterday on Pep BL, where Pep BL is going to be staying in Charlotte for a little while longer, and that piece of paper. We don't have the photo yet of Pep BL staring into the camera with the elevated pen over the contract that he's about to sign. We don't have that picture yet, but news came out yesterday, Carol Walton and Willie P, that Pep Biel is going to be staying for a while. So that's the rundown that we have for the rest of the week. We do have a couple of other things that we're doing on tape that will be across the network. The story that we were telling you about that will be a part of the Roots episode this week, how a guy from Leeds, England is now like owning and running a team in Prague, Czechoslovakia. That will be going on. Now we're going to record that on Thursday. That'll be a part of the Roots this week. That episode will come out this weekend. And we're also taking the tour of all the colleges and catching up with folks and trying to track down all those good stories to get you ready for the weekend as well for the Red Clay Soccer Report, presented by and powered by both the Roots and Red Clay, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. So that's I believe that is everybody. I think that's everything for the rest of the week. So, yeah, so we got some stuff going on. We got plenty of stuff going on, and it will be it's going to be big. But yeah, Stuart Sharp coming in, the head coach of the CPMNT 2025 Copa America title winners with a 4-1 win against Argentina. Jonah Meyer-Crothers, Jacob Crumley, John Sullivan, first major trophy for the CPMNT second regional championship in the program's 33-year history. Finishes 25, the 25 calendar year, unbeaten. They had 7 matches, won 6 wins and a draw. First undefeated record in a calendar year. So good stuff from the CPMNT. Like I said, we're catching up with Stuart Sharp in the show at 10:30, catching up with Jacob Crumley. And if you haven't seen Jacob's goal, it's a rocket. And then you go back, you can go on YouTube and you can watch the Copa America and how the CPMNT ended up getting the Duke against Argentina. So you can scrub it if you want. You can watch it if you want. It's available. All you have to do is sit there and do 2025 Copa America, CPMNT. It's there, and you get to see the match in and of itself. But yeah, the Jacob Crumley golazo, quoting Mike Conti. So, but that's part of it. We'll catch up with Coach Sharp at 10:30. Catch up with Jacob on tape, and we'll have that one for you across the network, and we'll keep you posted on that. So, I guess technically, that was opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Here's your QR code for those of you who are getting ready to start your day. Hit that QR code and head into Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All we ask is that you buy out the store. And then once you buy out the store, use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10% reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Also, don't forget our friends at Fanatis, ftz.co/soccerdownhere. And you can catch the Argentine League, the Uruguay League, all the Copas that are going on right now. There was some madness going on last night with Sudamericana, with Independiente del Valle and Atletico Mineiro. That was a full 90 minutes of viewing pleasures. You can watch all that. You can watch Argentina. You can watch a lot of the leagues in South America. You get with all the be-ins, which means you get everything going on in the African continent, Middle East. They've added the Polish league this year, so it's like Polish league and Ligue 1 in France, and a lot of the other leagues that you never thought that you get the chance to watch. You get that on all the BNs, all the qualifiers and things like that. You can watch that on BN. Then buddy Nino Torres and Gold TV. They've got the Portuguese league. They've got a lot of the leagues in South America. You can watch that on Fanati. So it's Teise Nuestro Telesitio for the fans. TVV has been added. You get to watch matches off of Canal 4, CATV. Let's see, who else am I missing? Tigo Sports, that was the one. So Tigo is up there, and there you go. There's a lot to watch, and you can watch it at fanatisfntz.co/soccerdownhere, and you can add to your true degenerative nature, not like decaying, but being a true degenerate. I guess that's degenerative. The degenerate nature. Because if you say degenerative, it sounds like that something's decaying, and that's not right. So all the things. You can watch all the things, and you can add to all the things that you already watch at fanatisfntz.co/soccerdownhere. Okay, don't forget. Let me see if I can get out of the way here briefly. There it is. The new Marshall Islands scarf is out. It is out. It is available, and we have it here. So you can pick it up from me. You can, it's 25, and it helps keep the lights on for the Marshall Island Soccer Federation right there. The difference is the updated logo on our end. If you have the original that has the interlocking DH, that's 1.0. This is 2.0, and it's got the new logo. So it's got that logo, except for the Kaiser Permanente part. It's got our new SDH Network logo on the tail. And so once again, you reach out to me. It's 25 plus shipping, and if you want it shipped to you, I can ship it. If I'm going to see you, I'll see you, and I'll give it to you there. So you can pick up the new Marshall Island scarf to help keep the lights on as they continue their next strides as a soccer federation. You've got that. Go to soccerdownhere.net. You can go to the shop section. You get all the new SDH gear with the block logo, and you can get the Ruckus gear and the attack gear that has been retrofied by Jason. You can go to Olive & York, get our jersey that helps out our Soccer for Good campaign here in 25, and it is the navy jersey, and you can get your personalization either in a double blue or in a white with letters and numerals, or you can just not, like me. I'm not a big personalization guy. I don't wear my own name on the back of things. That's just me. So you can get that at Olive & York. And then also you can become a Fanatico for $10 a year, and that helps out our Soccer for Good campaign in 2025 as well. Okay, it is 9:15. I believe I might have filibustered enough. And so it's now time to bring in our buddy Tyler Pilgrim, who is actually indoors this time. He is indoors in his studio space. And so we get to find out, first and foremost. All right, so what's the mug?
It is the classic.
Okay.
Scarves and Spikes.
Right on. Now my next question is, you were lacking in some materials last time out to make a full cup of coffee. Has there been a trip to the grocery store to make sure that your cup of coffee has all of the contents that you desire on a daily basis?
Yes, there has. You can't go more than one coffee session lacking the necessary tools and ingredients. It becomes like the number one thing on the priority list at that point.
Well, and I mean, to give, I know that this will shock all of you, but we have our shopping lists, and because we're running around 900 miles an hour, we usually have it delivered from the store to the stoop, and it's one of the greatest things that mankind has ever created is home delivery from the grocery store, except when they substitute and get things wrong, and we'll get to that in a minute. But to be able to sit there and it's like, yeah, this, and this, and then just have it pop up. It's amazing. You sit there and it's like, okay, it's delivered. We're caught up when you're not. So yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you're missing something. You can't go a full cycle without having everything. And then if worst comes to worst and you can't get it delivered in time, you're just going to drive to the store. I'm going to do this myself. You drive down to the store.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to take care of this. So we're not having one more day where I don't have everything in the cupboard that I need to have my day start the right way.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like Will asked, what's the coffee order? I mean, typically like 99% of the time I'll drink coffee pretty much anyway, but like, it's just a little bit of milk, like a little bit of cream or whatever, half and half, whole milk, whatever milk. I don't care.
Wow.
And that's it. Like, that's all I do. Occasionally, if I want to get fancy, I want to get a little razzle dazzle, I'll throw some sugar in it. Like, it's that simple.
That's razzle dazzle. I'll tell you what.
But like I'll drink coffee black as well. But when you get up in the morning and you're like, I'm so ready for this cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And then you realize you open the fridge and there is no milk, half and half. I don't even care if it's almond milk, whatever, walnut milk, whatever other milk that is made allegedly. And none of it's there.
Banana milk.
That is the worst feeling.
Oh, absolutely, it is.
It is the worst. And you're like, well, but this messed up my entire morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm not surprised by that one bit. But the larger point is, if you go and get something delivered and then they give you something entirely different from what you asked for, it's like it's kind of the same, but it's nowhere close to what you were looking for. There's that moment of disappointment. You're like, oh man, they didn't tell me that they swapped it out or that they didn't get it. It's like, and so it's like Christmas every freaking time that you get food delivered. And everything's there. It's great. Something's missing. Oh, crap. Something's subbed and it's nowhere close. Oh, man. So it's like you're running through all of these emotions now when you have food ordered, you have your groceries ordered and then delivered to you. You could have it literally is like the Goldilocks setup. You know, it's like you go one bed's great, one bed's okay, and the other bed's awful. And so you could have all three of those experiences when you order your groceries online these days.
Yeah, and it's like it's always. I think we've talked about this before, but it's always like the most random thing because they'll be like, "Did you check your replacements?" And I'm like, "Why did you replace apples with
pomegranate?
Like, yeah, like Fiji's, like Fiji water or something. Like it's something totally different. Like, no, this is not how this works." And then beyond that, all right, so like they get delivered. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then what I think what really toasts my buns more than anything is when you get to the grocery store, right? Like you don't order it to be delivered to your house. You just go to the store and you do like the curbside pickup type situation.
Yeah, I've been there.
And you get there and you wait.
Oh.
And then they bring it all out. And you're like, cool. And then you realize they forgot something. And so then I've got to go into the store anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, why did I even do this? I've set myself up for frustration here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've done that myself as well. So and traditionally for me, when I drive up, you know, when I'm out and about and I'll drive up instead of have it delivered, 9 times out of 10, I end up driving to the old delivery location. You know, it's like they'll sit there initially when they start the delivery idea of a particular store. They'll have like one wall that'll be all of your delivery spaces, and it's been so long since I've been there that I'll go to the old delivery spaces and I'll be the only person there. And I'm going, man, why is everybody sitting here? And why am I the only car here? And then after about 20 minutes, after arriving on time, you'll realize maybe I'm in the wrong place. And then you go to the other walls of the store and then you see all the numbers and everything. And it's like, okay, now I'm supposed to be here. And then you call in and they come out and they were like, yeah, we had it here for you 20 minutes ago. Sorry about your ice cream. And you know, everything's melting and you're like, man. So yeah, traditionally for me, I end up going to the wrong part of the store when I'm picking things up myself. That's the other element that's attached to why I have it delivered, because the lag time in me figuring out I'm at the wrong part of the store versus things melting and going bad, that's
Milk
usually
is curdled. Things are already like beyond their shelf life.
Mm-hmm. That's usually how it goes in these kinds of situations. So it is just so Abby, we have helpful hints. So all right, so Abby is groceries online. Yeah, they never pick the fruit that I would pick.
That is also true.
Absolutely. And it's because if you're going in there and you know your own investigative way of, it's like, you know, you're thumping the watermelon or whatever to make sure it makes that nice bass sound.
How yellow is it on one side?
Yes. Yes.
Yep,
So
I get it.
yeah. And so Abby, I definitely can relate. One item isn't bad instead of a full shop. Yeah.
Get a bushel of bananas that like the only thing they can be used for is like pancakes at that point.
Yes, absolutely true. And then obviously, David, don't get delivery. If you want to get it done right, do it yourself. And I mean, yes, I do agree with this concept, but because of the days being the days that they are, especially in season, you're like, man, this fell to the bottom of the sheet, and I've got to get something done. I've just got to make sure that it happens, you know. Yeah, and then I'm always screwing up the order anyway. All right. So, Kate, sorry. Cerebral Palsy Men's National Team, the CPMNT. Yeah, we're having Stuart Sharp on at 10:30. So it's the Cerebral Palsy Men's National Team. They won the Copa America down in Argentina, and it's their first ever major title. And so we're catching up with Stuart at 10:30. So that's what that is, Kate. It's the Cerebral Palsy Men's National Team. So we'll catch up. We're catching up with them at 10:30. Okay. So, I did not know
Our fellow Fayetteville trainee.
Yeah, maple syrup instead of sugar, Will says.
I have heard this.
I have not.
I haven't tried that. Now I've tried honey. Of course, you like do honey and tea.
Mm-hmm.
And see, like when I do the sugar, maybe I'm a little picky. Yep. I prefer like that brown, like the brown turbinado, like cane sugar or whatever, like the actual brown sugar that's like not processed.
Right.
Something about it that just hits better than table sugar. But I will have to try the maple syrup.
Yeah, to me, I was like, okay, that's new. I have never I've never heard
sugar in the raw. Ricky said, yeah.
Thank you, sugar in the raw. I couldn't remember what that was, but yeah, it's the brown container. You have the brown, the pink, the yellow, and the white when you have the ceramic container. It's like I couldn't remember sugar in the raw. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, there actually is some soccer to talk about.
Yeah.
I know. It's like the first 10 minutes we're sitting there and I'm sitting there complaining about grocery delivery and
things. Between decision day and playoffs, especially when, the team you primarily cover is not in it.
Yeah.
It's like purgatory.
Well, I mean, there is other stuff to get into. We're going to get into Champions League as well and the chaos that happened there. Last night, yeah, well, they 4 goals in 13 minutes. Are you serious?
Yeah, wild.
And 2 of them coming from Jokeres. So that was, getting him off the schneid. But yeah, yesterday you had like 728 goals in Champions League yesterday. It's chaos involving PSG and a couple of other squads. Yesterday, the team came out with an announcement in the evening, time stamped 8:13 last night. And Atlanta United announces that President and CEO Garth Lagerwey taking an immediate and indefinite leave of absence from the club to fully focus on medical treatment and recovery with full support of the club and AMBSC. Day-to-day operations moving forward will continue under Chief Soccer Officer Chris Henderson, SVP of Strategy Demetrios Evstathiou, and Chief Business Officer Sarah Kate Knopfsinger. They'll continue reporting to Rich McKay. Garth's quote, I am mindful that leadership of Atlanta United requires full-time attention, and right now I simply must focus on my health and ongoing cancer treatment. I'm appreciative of the club considering my health needs during such a challenging time, and I'm also encouraged by my treatment progress and long-term outlook. And that was the quote from Garth last night that came out in the 8 o'clock hour. So, and I will preface this by saying it this way. I hate cancer like nobody's business. We have all, I'm fairly certain, been affected by this nasty disease in one way or another, friend, family, close, not as close as they should be, those kinds of things. And Garth's focus needs to be there. And the fact that I give him nothing but love and support and to tackle this sumbitch as best as humanly possible. So go, take your time, do your thing, kick cancer's ass, and come back when you're 140%. That's all I want.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I think if I was going to Monday morning quarterback any of this, I just wish he had completely taken the indefinite, full step back months ago, and I get why he didn't.
Yeah. Garth's a competitor. He's an athlete, and that the man that wore cornrows between the sticks when he was in Major League Soccer, that one of the best PK stoppers in the history of Major League Soccer. So he's a competitor. How much the work means to him on a daily basis. But to get this announcement, it's like, yep, just go kick cancer's ass, and we'll be here. We'll be here.
Yeah, the club's not going anywhere. You do have a handful of people in the front office that they can handle this, like Chris. And the good thing is, it's not like he hired Chris, who was an unknown to him, and then this happened to where he's like, oh, now I've got to trust this guy that I don't really know that well. I mean, he knows Chris. He knows kind of how he works and how he operates. Leave it in Chris's hands. Skate, all of them. They've got this. And just go put your professional life out of your mind entirely and go do what you have to do. Go knock it out, handle it, and come back even stronger than before. And so, I totally agree. I just, I pray that everything is going better than expected. I don't know. And I'm not going to sit here and try to, guess based on the timing and all this other stuff. Oh, did something get worse or is it better? Or, sometimes I was talking with some people as recently as this morning about their own experiences with it. And sometimes the post-treatment time is the worst.
Yeah. It absolutely kicks your ass.
Yeah. So ultimately, I just want him to go heal up, get better, and get back at it when he is completely better.
Yeah. And I mean, you're living you are living in the day to day, and you are living from treatment to treatment. When you're out of your chemo cycles, you are living 6 months at a time, going doctor appointment to doctor appointment. So, like, literally, that, having faced this demon square in the jaw, it's like, look, yeah, like I said, like you and I've said, it's like, look, just do your thing, kick its ass, come back. We'll be here, and we'll throw a party, and we'll blow out a parking lot with champagne and cake when the time is appropriate. But no,
sure.
we are here to support as best we can and be there however you want us to be going forward. Because I mean, I was this close when the story hit to earning the explicit rating, and I mean really earning the explicit rating with my language toward the disease in general. So it has taken a lot of me during this entire time. Anytime that I'm impacted by someone who is fighting cancer, I literally have to restrain from saying the Carlin 7 in a big streak of letters and big streak of sentences when it comes to this thing. But yeah, so it is now Chris on the player's side, and then on the business side, it is D and Skate. And so there are a lot of things that have to be decided upon. And we've already seen a couple of teams that have announced their decisions. All Caps made their decisions, including Erasmus Alm, who was a big paycheck. And then Montreal made their decisions. They also took the interim tag arc off of Marco Donadel. So we're starting to see those clubs that, as we get into the postseason, making decisions. Atlanta United's no different, and having someone like Chris, who's he's no spring chicken, he's no rook. There are decisions that have to be made, and having someone like that, as you said before, it makes the process knowledgeable. You're ready to hit it square. You know what you're getting into. It's not like somebody's just coming in and you trying to see if their key card works to make all this stuff happen. This is someone who's done it before.
Yeah, and he's got time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I don't foresee. Let me rephrase it. He has time. I think Chris is going to go into this offseason with a sense of urgency.
Yes.
In lots of things, but I think there is a order of operations here, and those decisions probably don't need to be made right now because you do have a little bit of time. So a couple other things need to be handled first.
Mm-hmm.
And then you figure out of all the contracts that are ending, and then all the contracts, option years, et cetera, what do you really want this team to start to look like in 2026? And, I keep going back to this one thing that one of the last things that Ronnie Dyla said while still employed with Atlanta United,
Mm-hmm.
I actually think was pretty spot on. He said, I never felt like the club or the team had a foundation this year. And, we can have a discussion on whose fault that is. Like at the end of the day, that's the coach's fault, but or at least partially the coach's fault. But if the right players aren't there, then the right players aren't there. I do think that as far as the roster is concerned, there are a couple of things that you're going to have to change. You're going to have to make moves on, and it doesn't matter what coach comes in. I think you need to be getting more out of a handful of positions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine. That's the type of retrospective you have at the end of every season. And so with the way that this offseason is going to go for Atlanta, I think, you just have to do things in the proper order. So the big thing right now is going to be the coach. But beyond that, and going back to that day as well, Brad Guzan said the same thing. You have to have the hard conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these signings, some of the players that are actively playing on this roster, I mean, you're going to have those hard conversations. And I don't know. I'm not going to throw specific names out in terms of, my opinions at the moment, but I think anybody that looks at this team over the past year or a couple of years can see that there are probably players that that's not the fit for them. And that's fine. That happens with every team. And, but you've got a guy up front with Chris, who he's been around the block. Like he said, he's been there before. He's been in situations where it was all rosy at the end of a season.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in positions where it was very frustrating at the end of the season. Now, has he been in one like this? I don't think so, but probably not. But he's got the experience still. So either way, no matter what, it's going to be busy.
Yeah. The contracts where you have decisions to make, I think Brad, was the only contract left that just ended in 25. You do have a handful of 25s with options for 26s and later. The homegrowns, a couple of homegrown decisions are 25s with a couple of renewal years behind it, 26, 7, and 8, I think, for Jaden and for Will Riley. And there are a couple of 25s with option years for 26. But these decisions are not your top A DP-ish high salary decisions. Those are the players that are under contract for a while. Your 25 contract ending 25 with option years, they're the ones, those are that are your depth pieces or your spot starters. So those those economical decisions are the ones that you're looking at with 25 ending with option years. It's not something where you have a DP decision that has to be made with a contract that is out at the end of 25.
Yeah, I mean, you start getting into like the DP conversation or some of these other ones, and that's just extra. Like, and who knows? Like Chris might go into it saying we need to reevaluate, whether it's the DPs or this particular set of positions or whatever. And yeah, you have, there's a little more work that is involved because you have to find somebody to trade or you have to use a buyout or whatever. But as far as what you're saying with the homegrowns and with these guys that are kind of coming up on option years or the possibility that they could not come back next year,
right?
That's where you have to look at it and say, all right, in 2026 to be a silverware winning team, I think if we're being honest, you do have to have more of your roster of 30 participate than you probably did 8, 9, 10, 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just skate by with, your prime starting 11 and a couple of good subs. Like you start participating in all these different tournaments, and who knows how the World Cup's going to affect everything next year. But you start participating in all these tournaments, and you really need your academy guys to step up. You need your twos. You need these guys to come in and be able to give you successful performances. And I think Atlanta has that for sure. But it's typically going to be most likely that they fall somewhere on the depth chart and not necessarily starting next year. Like I'm sure Jaden, there's a good chance he'll be starting next year, but you just never know when a new coach is coming in. So at the end of the day, I think they just have to have a real in-depth look, and I'm sure they've been having. I'm sure Javier Perez is heavily involved in that as well. But like, who of the academy / homegrown / twos players are ones that we should pick up the option on, and who should we let go off to, their own greener pastures?
And with and Atlanta United in the September evaluation, with the changes that they had, I think it was 7 and 5, 7 out and 5 in. The AM that they had, the GAM that they had, not just AM, but GAM that they had was just a little under $137,000. That is on the low end of the scale. You have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams underneath you that had less GAM at the end of the 25 area than Atlanta United. And so, you're going to probably stick with your 3 and 3, meaning your 3 DPs and your 3 U22s approach. But you can still, once again, change that to a 2 and a 4. But right now you've got your 3 DPs. That's going to lock in place. So that means you have your 3 U22s. That's a part of it. And then you sit there and you wonder about the younger players and just how much of an impact they're going to make, because in a cap league, and this was the point that I was trying to make until my brain locked on me, in a cap league, it is those depth pieces, it is the rookie contracts, it's the entry-level contracts and that player development that will help you out to give you that buffer and that spending space so you can bring in the experienced folks and bring in the higher priced talent. But you're counting on all of those younger dudes. And so, all right, so let's think about the younger dudes that came in. So Jay, before he got injured, Jay is a contract decision because he has one option year left. Matt Edwards, DCQ, Cooper Sanchez, Luke Brennan, Will Riley. So these are the guys that are in that 80, Nick Sessick, yeah. So these are the guys that are in that 82,000 to 120 to 150 range that really do help you out in your cap numbers, so you can bring in those experienced folks as those bridges to when the younger players are ready, they're ready to take over, and you're not breaking the bank with all this stuff.
Yeah, that's the recipe, in my opinion, for not just success, because any team can get out there and have a decent run and get admittedly lucky, right? Like, you can go out there and because this is such a league of parity, you make it to the playoffs, and then you only have to really win a handful of games and what's essentially another season to go win MLS Cup. So you can have that run and it all works out. Good for you. But to be like successful year over year, you really need to have your academy firing on all cylinders. And I mean, look, I think Atlanta, I've said it before, I think Atlanta has, in terms of the output of talent, has a top 5 academy in this league. But that is the recipe, right? Like you said, in terms of where you have to look at the money and the rubber hits the road kind of situation.
Yep.
You have to be able to bring up guys who they are going to perform beyond what their paycheck might indicate.
Yep.
And that's okay, because when you're 18, 19, whatever years old, first of all, the amount that you're still going to be getting paid is great for an 18, 19-year-old, if we're being honest. But it does give you that opportunity, that exposure to then go on to bigger and better things. Look at Caleb Wiley, and a handful of others that we've had over the years.
Left back, you baby,
George Bell. Yeah, I mean, look at all these guys. And so now, I say all that, and I will sit here and say in the same sentence that I want Atlanta United to start keeping some of these guys long term, because then they become, I don't want to say lifers, but like they become long term players that there is that sense of identity, that sense of pride for the badge, that for the city. And I think that goes a long way to locker room culture, to the chemistry amongst the players, like just having a cornerstone, especially now that Brad's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have to get a lot out of those to free up the ability to go after who you want to go after for, I would say, the bread and butter of a first team roster. So
to David, to answer your question about last season, I dug up the September 24 grid, and your U22s and your U22s that are no longer here: Franco Ibarra, Edwin Mosqueda, who is on loan technically, but I do not anticipate his contract to be picked back up, and Santi Sosa. Those are U22 players. They're not like twos players, but they're U22s. Homegrowns. Noah's out on loan to Colorado. Nick Firmino did not have his option picked up. I think Nick is in Lexington playing for Lex SC in the championship. Ephra, who is now in Montreal, and Tyler Wolf was a homegrown who did not have a contract renewed, and Eric Centeno was a supplemental slot as a Generation Adidas player. So if you're looking at players that were not renewed after last season, it's Nick, it's Ephra, it's Tyler, and it's Eric, plus the 3 U22s in Santi Sosa, Edwin Mosqueda, and Franco Ibarra. So once again, it's folks that don't ding you in the cap a whole lot, and you had a couple of twos players that were out of contract that you made decisions on. So it was a handful of folks, but it was a combination of U22s and some homegrowns and homegrown designations and a Generation Adidas and Eric Centeno. So that was the breakdown from last year.
Yeah. And I'll throw this out there. I think if I'm going to sit here and vehemently disagree with the way that the roster has been kind of constructed, and I know good and well why, but I just want to see more of, I want to see that U22 spot milked, because I think you can get something out of it with Atlanta's scouting.
Mm-hmm.
You look at some of the players that Atlanta has brought in over the years, even before the U22 roster designation was a thing, that would fit into what is now the U22 roster designation. And I'm like, you have the feelers out there. You have the net to go out and send scouts to literally every corner of this world to find that U22 kid who you shouldn't expect him to come in on day one and start, but you see the talent and you go to him and say, look, this is a chance for lots, for more eyes on you, World Cup coming up, for, arguably, depending on how it goes, like better pay. Obviously helps the club because like you said, the cap space is not, it's minimal, the cap hit's minimal. But you can find that gem, that kid that's going to come in and just play, out of his mind. And yeah, if he comes in with the expectation that he's still going to have to work his way into a like prime starting 11 spot, I think that's how you want to use it. Now, and I know Garth and Chris, hearing both of them explain their opinions on the U22 spots, like Garth typically kind of comes across as it's not a priority. Chris has said if the right guy comes up, then he would pursue it. And I just think that there are opportunities out there for now. There's a lot of other stuff you have to take care of first, but if you can just one U22 spot, have a guy come in, an Ezekiel Barco as an example, that comes in that, yeah, he's not going to start initially, but the whole point is to help him grow into a guy that can become something significant for the club. And it might take 6 months. It might take 3 months. It might take a year or year and a half. I don't know. But I just think it's such an underused spot. And the way that Atlanta's used them in the past it feels like it's been very haphazard. So that's my other roster construction soapbox.
Kate is asking about the net, and she says, don't they need to keep both Josh and Jaden, or do they think they could snag somebody like Nick Pope, Kaylor Navas, or Memo Ochoa, who is the same age as Gazan? By the way, Nick Pope, I think the Falcons might need to look at Nick Pope after yesterday.
Yeah, dude.
With that 65-yard bomb that he threw, and I think it was Anthony Gordon on a vert. So that was the big run for Nick Pope. Nick Pope is, Kate, if we take this player at a time, Nick Pope is under a deal for one more year at Newcastle. He is currently making, let me see, he's making $3,120,000. So if you were going to sign Nick Pope, it probably would have to be surrendering a DP slot to do something like that. You bring in a Newcastle keeper, it's probably a DP slot. You've got the 3 DPs, and Nick Pope would have to really want to come here. May not necessarily get $3 million. He'd have to be a high TAM, although we do know someone who is a chief soccer officer who was a part of a roster who definitely knew how to turn players into TAM players and make sure that you got a lot of friends of a certain player coming out. Hey, you want to come play with me? You're only going to make this much, but you can make more in endorsements. Okay, yeah, sure, go. Yeah, I don't know where that team exists. They're around here somewhere.
I don't know. I've heard they're south.
Yes, yeah, somewhat. Kaylor Navas and Memo Ochoa, they probably would be more salary friendly, but you wonder about their durability over a 34 plus Leagues Cup or Open Cup or whatever schedule you want to put up there. Now that we're going down the Kaylor Navas rabbit hole, well, I just want to see what his contract status is and find out where he would be.
I mean, master of the dark arts for sure.
Oh, absolutely true. He's at Pumas right now, and he's 38. And in between Newell's and Pumas in 25, he's played 25 matches. So, would Kaylor want to be away from Liga MX? That would be the big question there at the age of 38, coming up on 39. And then Memo Ochoa. Memo has been floating around the lower divisions in Italy, I want to say. And he's 40, correct. He is a man.
Yep.
Memo Ochoa is okay. So he was in Italy, and now he's with AEL Limassol in Cyprus. So that's the Premier Division in Cyprus at AEL Limassol. And at the age of 40, that's where Kaylor is right now.
That man is playing in one of the most beautiful places. Like, leave that man alone. He's enjoying it.
I mean, he's got his tequila ads, and he's doing.
Yeah.
He was in the Portuguese league last year at AVS. So that was in the Premier Division in Portugal, but it was a team that was struggling to stay up. Before that, he was at Salernitana in Serie A, and then he had his time with Club America. So literally Club America, and then 2 seasons with Salernitana. Then he goes and plays at AVS in Portugal. Now he is right now in Cyprus. So once again, would Memo want to sit there and come by, or would he want to just kind of sit there and go, "Nah, I'm chill, I'm good. I'm playing in Cyprus, and I might be in international play as well." So that would be the key in all of these, Kate, is salary. And this is the thing that we run into in a cap league, is that your designated players can make whatever they want. They only hit the cap at a certain point. But right now, if Atlanta United was to bring in someone who would be a DP, which I'm guessing that Nick Pope would be, or Kaylor Navas, or whomever, someone in that vein, they would have to find room for them as a DP, sign them for whatever salary figure they could, and then kind of work backwards and figure out how else you want to fill your roster. I don't know how many teams in Major League Soccer have DP goalkeepers at the moment. So, of course, now I'm going to go look that up. So,
isn't St. Louis about to have one?
Oh, Berkey?
Yeah.
Yeah, Berkey re-signed through 27. So
as a DP.
Yeah. So every designated player. So, all right. So
I will say this while you look that up.
Sure.
Cohen, to that point about the salary cap, I mean, his guaranteed compensation is like $328,000. So it's relatively low.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Jaden, who he's being trained obviously by some of the best. So like then that's the thing that behind the scenes, the coaching staff, the goalkeeper coaches, everything else like that Atlanta has been really good.
It looks like only 2, Matt Turner and Berkey would be
I forgot about Turner.
Your 2. So Matt Turner in New England and Roman Berkey at all caps. I think those are the only 2 right now that are keepers that are DPs. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith putting that in that keeper, and they've done that with Berkey, and they really needed it in New England. So that's those are 2 situations off the top of my head. As I sit here and blow through, yeah, David, they have Charlotte has both Callender and Kalina, and that is an interesting question up the road. So if you would, David, put a bookmark in that one, because when Willie P joins us on Friday at 10:30, we can discuss this here. But yeah, you've got Drake Callender and Christian Kalina. It makes me wonder if Dean Smith and the Z-Man, Zoran Cornetta, mightn't be knowing something about Christian Kalina and his future that he might want to jet. And so you've got Drake Callender in there as a 1A or a 1B. That you've got both of those dudes that are there, and they're both are both there under your cap, and they both fit. But that's like a 1A and a 1B for me in Charlotte.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, is there something that they don't know? And Emilio's like, yeah, I don't see why Hibbert doesn't start. Yeah, they'd be on the bench as a backup. Yeah, I mean, perhaps. I mean, and right now, the biggest question is with Jaden. Do you think? And this is something that is decided inside the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground with coaches and front office folk and stuff. Would Jaden? I mean, you ask Jaden this question, he'll sit there and go, "Yeah, man, I'm ready." But is Jaden ready for a full 34 match plus rigor and wear and tear? Is he going to be ready for a full 34 match schedule? That would be the biggest question. And do you think? Do you have the faith in him to be your starting keeper, or are you going to be chasing after a guy like a David Bingham or somebody like that to bring in, or do you bring Josh in on another number or something like that to be that experienced keeper behind, the Bobby Shuttleworth approach, where you bring in somebody like Bobby, that experienced backup for you to help things out. That is going to be another one of the questions with Jaden. Is he going to be ready for the wear and tear of a full season if you think he's going to be your number 1 starter?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Kind of like what I was saying earlier. You just kind of never know when you have a coaching change, a regime change, right? I think going into the end of the season, Jaden performed admirably. And as far as like whether or not he's ready, can handle the full season, I mean, the dude's probably one of the fittest guys. He's the most in
Oh,
shape. I mean, the dude lives in the gym,
Mhm.
but he's never had that kind of mental load that he would have to deal with. And also, it is a weird year. The World Cup, that
Mhm.
throws a wrench in things when you're going, and then you're going to have, this pause or in an away stretch probably of some sort like that throws another aspect into it. So, um, I mean, I love the idea of having Jaden around for a long time and seeing him be at minimum what you need to compete for the playoffs and have a chance at trophies. But like best case scenario, he becomes your very long-term goalkeeper, a position that you just don't have to worry about for a long time. And I would love to see that. Now, he's young. So yeah, like depending on what happens in the offseason, does a new coach trust him? I don't know. But in a perfect world, yes, you keep Jaden there. You have that backup that's experienced, that's doing all the things behind the curtains.
Mhm.
And then you have, of course, the goalkeeping staff that's obviously doing everything they can to build every great part of Brad Guzan into Jaden Hibbert that you possibly can. And then he's your guy. I would love that, but we'll see.
And that's where we are right now with anything and everything. We do have games tonight, by the way, and this is it's like the third season is already up and running, and it's like it already popped its head in. So tonight we've got we have the wild card games or play-in round or whatever you want to call it. So we have that tonight. And the 8-9s, we talked to Mike Gramajo yesterday from the Purple Team, covering the Purple Team down at West TV in Orlando. And I was trying to see if he was looking at the situation involving Orlando, kind of like we are north of that border, that border that's associated. And it was once again another season where we thought that Oscar Pareja had gone against type and was fairly consistent last couple of years. You didn't have the up and then the fade, and this year you have the up and the fade. And because of math, you're at the 9, and you've got to go to Bridgeview. How's that for your playoffs? Yeah,
Right.
you're the 9. You go to Bridgeview. You don't even go to Chicago because of something called the National Football League.
Yep.
So it literally is. It literally is. You're going to Bridgeview to play, and you're taking on Chicago in the 8-9 early. What do you think about that one?
I have Chicago on this one,
Mm-hmm.
and for a few reasons, but I think Chicago is that team that they're the box of chocolates. Like really, you never know what you're going to get. And sometimes they'll drop 4 on somebody, and then they'll just look atrocious.
Yeah.
But I think they've got it in them. Of course, you do have the pseudo home field advantage as well, and Orlando's just they've been too inconsistent on the negative side for me. And I just after the way that a handful of their final matches went in regular season, I don't like their chances in this one. I think Chicago takes it.
One win, I think, in their last 7. I think
Yeah.
is how it was for them. And then the 8-9 late night side for us, it's like, okay, so MLS After Dark, you end up with the West 8-9, Portland and RSL. And by the way, Chicago favored at a +121, no real surprise. Portland favored at about the same number. They're at a +117. This has MLS After Dark written all over it, especially for those of us on the East Coast with Portland and RSL. And look, I'm going to do this. I'm going to look at it this way. I'm not even going to look at the number, even though I know what the favorite is in this one. It's the home team. Over under 3.5 is a +148. Over under 4.5 is a +349. That's where I'm looking. I could
Yeah.
take that 3.5 and run all day.
And it's funny because we were talking on MLS Monday. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a 0-0 draw, and Portland wins in penalties." But it's going to be. I think no matter what, whether there's tons of goals or not, I think it's going to be drunk, 100% drunk, and I'm excited. Like that this one, it just has all the makings of like two. It is the we do this thing. on the show. This is the drunk uncle match of the week, in my opinion. This is going to be something stupid and so much fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Yes.
And then you take into account, like Portland had the weird like home field thing last year. They weren't supposed to be, and then they got switched back to being, playing on the like it was just like a weird situation. And so with Portland and playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
there's always something odd. So yeah,
Yes.
I think Portland takes it ultimately, no matter how it happens, whether it's full on drunk uncle on the trampoline, like WWE, or you're just sitting there like watching red cards fly. I think it's going to be interesting.
Oh, that'd be great. All right. So tonight, 7:00.
Yeah, it's going to be a little different though.
Oh,
Um,
how different is it?
well, it's going to be different. So it'll be the perfect appetizer for y'all to get ready for the two wildcard matches. We're actually doing our show not in one particular location, but we are all going to be at varying Waffle Houses
Oh, see.
and just discussing, the season, the changes at the coaching spot. Obviously talking a little bit about the wild card matches as well, but yeah, I'm gonna be sitting in a booth in a Waffle House doing this show tonight.
Fantastic.
And teaching Tommy how to order Waffle House hash browns because he's like, "Oh, you just put some salt on them," and I'm like,
Whoa!
"Dude, get out of here, man! Like
Whoa!
you've got to learn. You can't just go in a Waffle House and order hash browns with salt on them. They get out. There's too many other toppings to choose from."
I'm sorry. He's not allowed in a Waffle House until he figures out the different orders.
He's
Because
gonna learn.
wow.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. That just gave me a headache.
I know.
That's no, that's not how this works.
Have nightmares about this. Like somebody that has been to a Waffle House is just like, "Oh, you don't need to do anything to them." You're
Yeah,
wrong.
you do. Yeah, you need to like not talk and just listen to the people. All right. So, yeah, I'm intrigued, and he's got to find something other than salt. That is just so un-American.
It is.
As always, my friend, great to see you in the midweek, and we'll catch up with you soon. And when you have a when he's added stuff other than salt, good Lord.
I mean, at least throw some onions or some gravy. Gravy is good on everything.
Triple order hash brown, scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, and topped. Move on.
There you go.
I mean, it's a meal in itself. All right,
It is.
save up and go with an empty stomach tonight.
Indeed.
All right, there goes Tyler and hot tag. That means we bring in Dylan. Dylan, is there a Northeast equivalent to Waffle House?
I don't, I don't think of that
Ilk.
magnitude is what I
Okay.
was going to say.
Okay.
We're known around here for our diners, of
Yes.
course.
Yes.
Long Island, New Jersey, known for diners. We'll have your occasional IHOPs around, but yeah, nothing quite like Waffle House.
Okay. So
And I would be totally intimidated, by the way. You know what I would do? I would go with you,
okay.
and I would be like, you'd be like, you need the hash browns, and I would be like, listen, I'm just you guide me, Obi-Wan.
Well, hey, I am your only hope. I know that much. So if you were to go to a place that is Waffle House like, what would be a commensurate diner up there in the tri-state, or does that exist where you can get good breakfast food and it doesn't matter what time of day you can go into this place? It's got great breakfast food. You might be able to get a hash brown meal out of the whole thing. What's a good diner, a good 24-hour breakfast location that you can consistently hit up without any fear and know that it's going to be great?
Honestly, there's a bunch, right? Like, I think if anyone, we've got some New York area people who watch and listen here, right? Like they can throw in their suggestions. Yeah, like I think around me, not so much with the 24-hour, but there were certainly a lot of places in Queens. Um, Ironically, one I do remember was called the Georgia Diner.
Hey, all right.
On Queens Boulevard, in the heart of Queens there. But yeah, listen, again, I think if you're a 24-hour diner and you serve breakfast all day, like, you've gotta bring it, right? Like, there's a reason you're open 24 hours, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
by my high school, the Blue Bay Diner in Fresh Meadows was excellent. They weren't 24 hours though.
Oh, see, that's the thing.
But like if you're at St. Francis Prep and you do a game, or you're leaving school, or there's some Christmas concert or something, that's your spot after the game.
Okay. So let's see. David is saying a Bob Evans, which is a high-end Waffle House.
Not in.
Yeah, because I don't know how north Bob Evans goes.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bob Evans makes it past the Mason-Dixon line.
The bridges.
Yeah. And so Harry is saying Russ and Daughter's bagel sandwiches as a part of this. Okay. Like I said, I'm all in for all this stuff because I have not had breakfast. Yeah, actually, technically I did. I had strawberry Danish before I got on the air, but a Waffle House is, see, and this is Derek, I agree with you. Waffle House is better with Bob Evans. I mean, this would be something, literally, this would be a great holiday debate because they would also have to be open during the holiday season. And you just go in and then everything's fine and nothing changes. Literally, what I do with the boss and the boss's mom, Christmas morning, we've opened the presents and I get the Waffle House order and I go get it. Waffle House is open, bring it back, and that's how we watch TV. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and but yeah, Cracker Barrel, Dr. D, they have lost the plot. They had a really good grilled steak Caesar salad, and I know that goes completely against Cracker Barrel and what they do south of the Mason-Dixon line, but that was where that's what I'd get at Cracker Barrels. Anyway, here we go. Okay, we actually need to talk soccer. The whole idea of decision day and the chaos that was attached, how close were you in getting everything right as to who was going into the postseason and who didn't get into the postseason? How close were you in getting everything right when it came to the 18 that have made it this far?
From this time last week, or just in general over
this time last week?
I think I had Colorado. Did I have Colorado and Salt Lake in? I think I did.
I think you did.
So 50%.
Okay. Well, and I mean, you've Colorado and RSL, yes, and then you have what's going on in the East, and we got into this a little bit in hour number 1, but I wanted to get more into it with you here in hour number 2. Specifically, the idea of not knowing what Orlando team we've gotten, and we've gone into the slow fade Oscar Pareja again, where you get to a point and then you're just kind of like, you made it, and then you just kind of go into the postseason. And now they're having to go to Bridgeview tonight to take on Chicago. They could have been anywhere from 4, and now they're the 9 because of math and laying another egg in Toronto on decision day. I mean, Orlando gives me the question marks above my head more than anybody else coming into the postseason.
In the East, yeah, but it's funny, right? Because I was like, who is in a more, well, I guess they would be in a more perilous situation just because they're on the road, right? But like, I was like, who is in worst shape, them or Portland? Both had a terrible end of the season, right?
Yeah.
You would argue, and I haven't looked at juice boxes, but you would argue both, if they're not, they should maybe both be underdogs, even though Portland is at home.
They're both favorites, by the way, and it's in the plus 120 range, but they're both favorites.
But here to me is the difference, I think, between those two, is that Orlando still has like a couple of difference makers in their lineup who, yes, this is, a team sport, but sometimes those special players can take over a game, and they've got a few of those, right? I don't see that in Portland. So, that's kind of like where you're weighing it out. Like, all right, well, Portland's home, Orlando's on the road. You look at the opponents, both Chicago and Salt Lake, similar in that they are playing better. Chicago is vying to not even be in the wild card round, right? So,
well, the East is a street fight anyway.
Yeah, for sure. So, Yeah, who's worse off, right? I don't think I see either coming out of this one.
Yeah, Chicago favored at a plus 121, Portland favored at a plus 117. If you're looking for some good, larger juice box numbers, your dogs. I mean, Orlando City, I don't see them coming out of this one, but RSL is a plus 209 in the composite when it comes to your juice boxes. So, I mean, that might be something to look at. 90-minute draw in the West is a plus 254. So I'm looking at those and I'm thinking, that's why I went with the total in Portland and RSL. I was looking at 3.5 and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's on the plus side. I'm good. I'll go there. I'm fine. And then 3.5, I think you're like a plus 130, plus 140. It's a decent number. So that's okay. Juice boxes are there. When it comes
now Orlando,
Mhm.
sorry to cut you off. Now it's funny too, because like Chicago, right, they're scoring a ton of goals. Orlando, when they're playing well, they're very pragmatic, right? So like they're packing it in defensively, they're hitting you hard. It's a dogfight. So yeah, that's where I would think that over under is an interesting question for that match.
Yeah. Then you look at the others that are here, and you could have a situation with the 3-6, which is Friday night at the Erector set down in South Florida. You could have a situation where Messi and Friends and Nashville play each other 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd be tired. I'd be tired of looking at the same food on my plate. And even, the second time it comes around, I mean, leftovers can be good if they're reheated, but if this series goes the full 3, you could end up with these two teams playing each other 4 straight times. And I would think by that point, at the very least, that if you were BJ Callahan, I think that you could have figured out Messi and Friends by now with all their issues at the back. I mean, this one, you look at, and I'll go juice boxes here just to give the numbers out there. But right now, match number 1 in this series at the Erector set, Messi and Friends are a minus 200. Nashville's a plus 413, 90-minute draws a plus 375. I'm looking at this and I'm going, the longer this series goes, the more I'm leaning Nashville from what we know about the defense for Messi and Friends.
Well, I think listen, I think you know me, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, right?
Yes.
So I would say the positive for Nashville is you literally just got a 90-minute window of what this is going to look like. And you saw 2 different 45 minutes, right? Like a very good 45 in the first half and a very bad in the second half. So
yes,
I think if you give BJ Callahan an opportunity to get into that laboratory and start figure things out and get the beakers out and get on the board and figure out all these mathematical equations on X equals Y squared, like you like his chances to do that. And listen, again, they tick a lot of boxes, right? Like as far as a complete team, they're right there, right? Solid in goal, solid. Zimmerman's back, solid in defense. You've got really 2 difference makers, right? Certainly in Mukhtar and Surridge, who have found the ability to score. You know that Miami can and will concede goals. So yeah, I mean, you've got a puncher's chance if you're Nashville, I think, but it's still the ultimate test, right? It is Messi and Friends, and it's a Miami team that is certainly, like, they've heard it. They've heard it for a couple of years now. Like, you've won this, you've won Leagues Cup, you've won the Shield, but you've not won MLS Cup. So it's the one that has eluded them to this point. And your window maybe isn't very large, right? Like maybe after next year, who knows what happens, right? So
I mean, you're losing Alba, you're losing Busquets,
right?
And you've got Rodrigo, who'll slide into one of those DP slots. There was and I have yet to check the number of followers for this particular source, but there was just somebody that threw spaghetti on the wall and mentioned Lewandowski in a 2-year deal.
Listen, and back in the day, it used to always be like, either New York or LA would get all of these rumors, but now obviously it's Miami, and because of the more so the players on the team, and obviously Messi being the lead of that, but also it being Miami, there's no shortage of guys knocking on that door. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Allegedly, Ruben Amorim is interested in Lewandowski. And like I said, it was just something that blurred into the timeline. And I'm like, yeah, that's somebody throwing spaghetti on the wall. That was something that obviously, yes, any big name that's attached, hey, do you want to go play with Messi? You're going to get all the shiny objects that are going to be a part of that discussion. So we'll find out what it looks like come the end of the season. Then on Sunday, you get the survivors of tonight going up against the ones in Philly and San Diego. I think that those game day ones, I think you'll be fine. Philadelphia at home going up against the winner of tonight, I think you're fine. San Diego, I think you're okay, but the longer the series,
I don't know.
Oh, you think okay? RSL and
well, just they don't play as well at Snapdragon.
Okay.
Like that's my concern a little bit for them.
Okay, so I think it goes 3 just because of the chaos that can be attached to a team that is in a new environment. It's like, how do we navigate this stuff? Yeah. I think it goes 3. I don't know off the top of my head what I think is going to happen, but I think the longer that series goes, I think the more chaos that you can have that's attached to it. Dallas and Vancouver, I'm fairly safe in thinking Vancouver should handle this one fairly well, at least even if it goes to 3. You got 2 of them at BC Place. They're opening the upper tank at BC Place for the first playoff game on Sunday night. So that's another good one there. And then Monday, nothing like hell is real for an opening round playoff series, huh?
Love it. And like, wasn't it last year? Was it the wild card? When was? Because it was only one match, right? NYCFC Red Bulls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To have it in a series is special, right? Like that's going to be, that's awesome.
I mean, they don't like each other, and you get to pass that billboard all the way through the entire time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That one's going to be, people just beating the daylights out of each other.
Yeah. So who's all right? Well, I'll first put my bet out there, but
sure.
I will say the first card issued in that series.
Yeah.
Which I really hope goes 3. Matt Miazga.
Yeah, I could go there.
25th minute.
Yeah, I could see something like that. That to me is a sound play. That I think that is a very, very safe play in figuring out the man who enjoys his pizza at home. That could be your first one. I like that. I like that idea. I'm thinking I'll go. I like the idea of Miazga, but I want to see how the back line is lined up. If Hagelin gets the start, is it Nick Hagelin because he's trying to grab somebody from behind that has run past him? Is it Miles, who apparently now has become this more physical version of Miles Robinson, where he's not afraid to stick into a tackle these days now too? I think that definitely
there could be someone at Columbus being like, listen, we're not going to deal with you, Matt Miazga. Like, we're throwing the first blow.
So let's see, a Zawadzki, a Mo Farsi, whatever a Shaberko, perhaps. I think that the back lines for either one of these, I think that is the sound play as to your first card that is issued. To that effect, I will be intrigued to find out who the center ref is in this series.
Oh yeah, that hasn't been announced yet, right?
I haven't seen anything off of the PRO site. And because I don't think we have our so MLS assignments, do we have them up yet? We have the wild card assignments, but we do not have match day ones for the postseason. Drew Fisher's in the middle in Bridgeview. Ryan Graves, Walt Heatherly, your ARs. Rosendo Mendoza is your 4th. Timothy Ford is your VAR with Tom Supple. They are upstairs. That could lend itself to be some intriguing fireworks from headset to downstairs. Guido Gonzalez Jr. is in the middle for MLS After Dark. Corey Richardson, Nick Uranga are your ARs. Izmir Pekmic is your fourth. Edvin Jurasevich and Jonathan Johnson.
So maybe get like a Jair Marufo, maybe
upstairs. Yeah, I mean you need someone like a Jair Marufo or who else is level-headed that doesn't want to make it about themselves. And that's why I mentioned Timothy Ford being the VAR in the first match tonight with Chicago and Orlando. Keep an eye on Timothy Ford as a VAR. Keep an eye where Joe Dickerson is assigned for match days. And you need that level head. The Jair Marufo is a great shout for having someone in the middle for this one. Like maybe a Guido. I like having Guido out after dark. John Freeman is fairly level headed. But that's the key. In something like the 2-7 in Hell is Real, you need somebody in the middle that isn't going to take any kind of a shenanigan. That to me is big. Minnesota loses, and they end up dropping on Monday, and so they're still the 4. They could have been a lot higher. And the man who champions the quarter zip in the white T-shirt, Eric Ramsey, once again, doesn't want the ball, doesn't care. You can have it. Doesn't do anything for me. We'll be clinical. We'll finish. Everything's fine. But you're going up against Seattle, who kind of watched everything go on around them, but they don't have Pedro de la Vega now because he is now out 6 months. I believe it was a fractured patella was what Brian Schmetzer said yesterday.
Yeah, but to be fair, they've been without him in large chunks as well, and they've managed that situation.
Mm-hmm. So
listen, I think we're seeing the absolute best of like a Christian Roldan right now, right? For both club and country. Jordan Morris is back healthy again. So 4 or 5, it's hard to say like the underdog, right? It's not really.
Yeah.
But I do like Seattle in this one, just again because of their experience and how kind of playoff or tournament hardened they are, right?
Yeah, and I think, and to your point about Christian Roldan, I think that we are seeing in a positive what national team duty can do for folks. And
just don't concede any long throws.
No.
And you'll be fine. And also Minnesota, they've won one of their last 4, right? Since that US Open Cup ouster.
Mm-hmm. So Dr. D with a question. So I guess we'll go ahead and we'll put this in the hermetically sealed envelope for later. Favorite to win it all.
Well, I did put up a bracket.
So okay. So
to that point, I would assume that I would have a favorite then.
Yes. For me, it's LAFC.
I'm in the West as well.
Oh, so you're not an LAFC.
It was tough.
Yeah. How tough was it? It was so tough that.
All right, I'm going Whitecaps FC.
Really?
Yeah.
You're going with the Cinderella.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about Brian White. But Thomas Mueller has been great. Ryan Gauld will be listen, again, if they're gonna make a run to the end, right? He's gonna be match fit certainly by the end of it. Or at some point. So I like Vancouver in this one.
I like and Dr. D digs your Caps pick. For Vancouver, I think that they are really going to have to take advantage of home field.
Yep.
Because going to BC Place is pack a lunch, a dinner, a midnight snack, and a hard hat, and you make sure that you have your air mattress and maybe a pillow with you. It's always a tough place to play. It's, that surface is a bit of an odd duck. It gives you odd bounces every once in a while, but Vancouver is, it's their surface. And it's like it's a surface, but it's our surface, and they adjust to it, and it's up to everybody else in the Western Conference to adjust to it. And it's always those first couple of bounces in the first 15 to 20 minutes that are traditionally really odd for folks to sit there and chase after. That to me is that is a heart pick for me. I'd love for Thomas Mueller to come in. I'd love for Vancouver, who is still up for sale, if I remember correctly. They're still looking for a buyer.
Yeah, that price has got to be going up, right?
Yeah. Well, and at the same time, it proves the value of what Axel Schuster and everyone up there has been investing in. This is getting Mueller was like, well, damn, okay. That was not something that was on the board. And you end up with Thomas Mueller going to Vancouver just so he could continue to play and not be in one of those big media markets where, everybody wants a little bit of your time. It's like, hey, can we do 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here? So-and-so wants this. They want you on this morning show. Thomas Mueller's going to Vancouver and he is playing. I mean, literally that's like playing and maybe the occasional
like fishing or something.
Yeah, press up, he goes, travels down to Puget Sound, maybe throws something in the water, Vancouver Island. He takes one of those pontoon planes and goes up the coastline and sees what it's like to take a cruise up the Alaskan seaboard or whatever. No, he's just functioning as a normal soccer player. If you ever want to sit there and say Thomas Mueller, normal soccer player, he's doing that in Vancouver. He's not being stretched for his time. He's allowed to focus on what he's doing, and you're seeing what Vancouver's up to. Oh, so then let me ask you this: is Jesper Sorensen your coach of the year then?
Yeah.
Okay. Not Mikey Veras or anything like that, but Jesper Sorensen.
You could obviously make great arguments either way, right? You could even throw a Bradley Carnell in there, but
yes,
I think those are your three, no doubt. But I think considering how they've dealt without, he comes in, he doesn't have at the time his most influential player in Ryan Gauld,
right,
until the end. You lose players to injury for the year. You lose one of your more influential midfielders to the transfer market.
Mm-hmm.
A lot to navigate, right? Gets them to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. You obviously you win the Canadian Championship. You're really like up to decision day. You had the inside track at number one,
yeah,
until you lost on decision day. So, yeah, listen, I get it with Mikey Varas, no doubt. The expansion team thing and the uncharted territory that brings, and the unprecedented points total and the wins total. They hit a home run certainly in their roster makeup, although they would really think they missed the boat there on Olaski, right? They should have kept him certainly, but
man.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with either. And again, oftentimes the Shield winning coach is the one who gets it. And I think, especially considering Carnell, walks in and the players that they had lost and the change of roster, that whole thing deserves a ton of credit there as well.
Yep. And then the other two series is Charlotte without Will Saha in game number 1 at the bank against NYC.
Yeah, tremendous at the bank, right? 13 wins, the most home wins of any team this year.
Mm-hmm.
But NYCFC have 6 road wins, and they're pretty good wins as well. Like if you look back at their schedule, they've picked up points on the road at some difficult places. So I think this series literally hinges on match number 1. If NYCFC can nick one there, now you've got an afternoon tilt at Yankee Stadium. You like your odds there if you're NYCFC. I do have them going through.
Yeah, and I mean when Will Saha gets a red in the last match, and it was a silly red, but I think that once again it opens the door to the buttons you can push for a Will Saha. That it's like engine runs a little hot, and so you hit the right button and you end up with a moment like you had.
And also Alonso Martinez, among the most clutch / underrated players in MLS, just finds a way to score game-winning goals.
Yep. In September, by the way, 3 in the win against Red Bulls, 2 in the win against Charlotte, 3 in the win against Columbus, 3 in the win at Soldier Field. Then it's 2 at Yankee Stadium in the win against Nashville, 2 against Leon in New Jersey, 4 against Dallas in Frisco, 2 in Central Florida against Orlando, 3 in Yankee Stadium against Toronto, 4 at Yankee Stadium against Atlanta United, 2 in the draw with Nashville, 3 against Chicago at home, 2 at Citi Field against Red Bulls. So to your point, as I'm sitting here and going backward, and they scored 3 in the loss here against Atlanta United at Mercedes-Benz, 2 goals. Literally they're scoring more than 2 goals or more each and every time out for the most part. There have only been a handful of matches where they've scored 1 goal in a match all season long.
Yeah.
So when we come back and we adjourn, we adjourn now and reconvene. When we reconvene in a week's time, unless you're the busiest man in the Northeast and you're juggling 3 sports at once.
Well, I will be in the middle of a stretch starting Saturday. From this Saturday to next Saturday, on the call for 12 soccer playoff games.
Nice. 12 soccer matches in 8 days. That's the way that we usually do it. Varsity Media on the YouTubes?
Yes, sir.
All right. So soccer permitting, Dylan will be joining us the same time next week, and we'll break down everything, including Nick Pope's arm.
I might not have a voice. I might have to write things down.
Just do it. Let's do the board.
Yeah,
post them to the board. But yeah, Nick Pope and the 65-yard arm to spring Newcastle in the Champions League yesterday. Very, very cool.
Great win there. Great win.
Yes, absolutely true. As always, my friend, great to see you. And may your 8 days and 12 matches be what they are. That's an average of 1.5 matches a day. So what's the mug today?
Grateful.
Yeah, yes, absolutely true. So as always, my friend, good to see you. And we'll catch up with you. Voice permitting next week.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, there goes Dylan. Very, very cool that Dylan gets to come in and join us from anything and everything going on in Major League Soccer and find out what's going on there. Okay, this is a treat. It was a very, very cool trip for the USCPMNT. They travel south and they go into a tournament and they end up with a moment that they will never forget. And so hang on just a second. Let me check something really quickly. I'm sending Coach Sharp a message. So real quick. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right. So it is time to bring in Stuart Sharp, the head coach of the USCPMNT, where we can talk about really cool stuff. Stuart, good to see you, my friend. How are things?
Good to see you. Long time not speak to. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So before we get into the questions and answers, I want to play a piece of audio that I think you might be familiar with. And so this happened, and I think you might know what we're talking about here.
The United States of America are going to be Copa America champions in 2025. It's a star-spangled success story for the United States of America. Stuart Sharp's team have done it.
Yeah, they kind of did. I play that back for you now that you're back home. Has it sunk in that this team goes down to Punta del Este, Uruguay, comes out with a championship trophy and medals, the first major trophy in program history for the CPMNT?
That commentator does a great job, doesn't he? He kind of captured the excitement well there. To answer your question, no, it hasn't sunk in. At the beginning of the season, we weren't sure how it was going to go. We had a couple of injuries going in, some players unavailable. But I will say, did I believe it was possible? Yes. At the very beginning of the tournament, we spoke to the players, and there was just a feeling in the locker room that this could be possible. And the part of the game that I remember, I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember the last 4 minutes. talking to myself and saying, let's not screw this up, but let's concentrate. Let's concentrate, focus on the game here, and make sure that we can see this game out. And of course, we scored our fourth goal in the dying minutes. So fantastic for a US team to be the champions of the Americas, to win the Copa America against one of our biggest rivals and a powerhouse in Argentina. Huge for us.
When you look back at the 25 season, where you go through, you go through and you ran the table, you win 6 of 7, you don't lose in 2025. What does this calendar year mean to the program and to the growth of the program from what you've been able to be a part of from the time that you walked in the door?
Someone said to me after the game, this has been years in the making, and it really has been. We've done a lot of work this year. We've got a great analytics department. We've got some fantastic assistant coaches. We've done a lot of work on and off the field to prepare the players. But this is the first year, to be honest, and I said it to the players as we went into the final game, we had a bit of swagger. Right, we've always had some grit. We've always had determination. There was moments that we've had some strong confidence, going into tournaments. But this one was just a little bit different. We had some swagger. So I think we've taken this year. There's been a true belief that we can do it. Right, there was always, I think, a lingering doubt: were we as good as other teams? Could we match up against the best in the world, even though we've beaten some of them before? But I just felt like going into this tournament that the players were like, not we can do this, but I said this in the locker room. It wasn't we can do this. It's, coach, we got this. And then that was a feeling. That was a feeling getting into this tournament, that the players knew what they could do and truly believed that they could pull this off.
Back on the 18th was when the news hit. Like I said, you could watch this on YouTube and you could see everything that was going on in this tournament. For the record, once again, CPMNT's first major trophy of the modern era, 2015 to now, second ever regional title, winning the first scaled down version of the CPISRA back in the Americas Championships back 30 years ago. Played round robin format. 4-8-1, 13 all-time meetings with Argentina. First win since 2019 in the World Cup. 8-game unbeaten streak dating back to the last game of 24. You've got guys like Jonah Meyer-Crothers, Jacob Crumley, who we're catching up with later today on tape just to kind of get his thoughts from a player perspective. John Sullivan, Frankie Lowry, second trophy ever, the undefeated run in the Intercontinental Cup back in August. I mean, what's it like to, you mentioned the swagger, but for the program in and of itself, you're really hitting some high notes here. And I think it speaks a lot to what you and the staff are doing and what you and U.S. Soccer are doing on the whole to make sure that the CP representation in soccer is showing everyone, hey, look, we can do all this too, and we're coming away with major trophies now. We are a force to be reckoned with as we continue to grow in the sport.
Yeah, one of our pillars at US Soccer is in service to soccer. And that's certainly something that all our national teams never forget. They might be the top players in the country, but our job is to inspire others to play the sport. And, the CP team is made up of players who've either been born with cerebral palsy, someone that's acquired a stroke at one point in their life or a traumatic brain injury, either through the military or on daily life. But we've got top performing players. You mentioned Jonah there. We got him released from Calvin University where he plays. He stars with that team as a senior and came down and won MVP of the tournament. Mark Estrella as well, goalkeeper of the tournament, coming from California. So it's important that we have visible role models for the next generation coming through. But also, as you mentioned there at US Soccer, as part of the US way, we want winning teams. And it's certainly something that our CPMNT has managed to do. Our CPWNT has done the same. And across our 27 national teams, we want We want to compete at the highest level. We want to win at the highest level. And I've got to say, truly, we want to have fun as well. And you can do all those things all at the same time. And I think we are leading the way in the world in that approach.
Stuart Sharp, head coach of the U.S. Men's CP national team, hanging out with us here on the morning show. You've been at the front of this team since 2014, senior TD of extended national team program since 22. What has it been like for you to see, since you walked in the door back in 2014, how things were with the CP national team then to now a decade later? You're doing what you're doing on an international scale, and then seeing what the extended national team program, you mentioned the US way, and having all 27 programs working as a unit together, both on and off the field for representation. What's it been like to see the extended program continue to make its inroads, and then the CP program in the last decade? Do you remember day one when you walked in the door in 2014, what it was like?
I do. I got the position, I think, on December 18th. I flew to Scotland for vacation and arrived back before my first camp, 6 days into it. And at that stage, we didn't have as much resources. Truly, I had a fight to get a goalkeeping coach in, a strength and conditioning coach in there, and really to have proper representation within the federation. I will say, though, very quickly, the federation got behind this team. And, we've gradually been on this build. We've gone from, deep within the rankings. Our highest ranking is number 4 in the world, reaching semi-finals of World Cups, into those gold medal matches against Brazil. And the growth has been huge. And alongside that growth by the players on the field, we've seen the federation supporters along the way and really open up not just opportunities for the CP men's national team, but now, as you mentioned, the extended national teams, where we have 9 of them. As we spoke about before, we have futsal national teams, beach soccer national teams, power chair soccer national teams, deaf national teams, and really as a federation, we're so proud to have more national teams than any other nation in the world, and provide our players the best chance to perform at the highest level and hopefully win, just like we did in Copa America.
You had, for folks that are watching or listening here in our Atlanta United footprint, you had an assistant coach that folks might be somewhat familiar with. How did you bring this particular individual in under the umbrella to where he would be an assistant coach for this tournament?
So our last game at the World Cup last year was against Germany, and I wasn't sure what their assistant coach said to me at one point, but I realized I would need to fix that. But seriously, we brought in Kevin Kratz, as you know, championship winner with Atlanta United, fantastic midfielder, very experienced, been with Atlanta United through Tata's era, and I felt that he would bring a different element to our staff. First of all, bringing the experience of a winner, and that's what you need, right? You need to have winners around to ensure that you take a program to the next level, and Kevin certainly did that. He mentioned to me, and I'm sure he won't, he won't be upset with me saying this, but we went down to Colombia just before this competition to prepare for Copa America, and he celebrated our first goal down there like a man possessed, because the amount of work they would put in. And he said, Stuart, he turned around to me and said, Stuart, this is the first time I felt like this in a long while.
Wow.
Really, when it really matters. And he's been brilliant. He honestly, the players have taken to him. He's an ultimate professional, and is really great support for me as an assistant coach, and obviously, part of the Atlanta United royalty. So we appreciate everything that he's doing for us, and hopefully continues to do for us in the future.
Where did the coaching staff get medals as well?
They did. So you'll need to ask Kevin for a picture of his trophy cabinet next to his MLS medals to show the Copa America CP medal. I'm sure he's got it there. Pride of place.
Where's yours?
is right here just now. Oh, no, actually. Oh, it's not. I don't want to. My dog's down there. I think my dog might have it around its neck at the moment.
I was going to say you got a live studio audience this morning, man. I mean, that's
no,
but we are a pet friendly and pet safe environment, so it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's in there. It's in the safe at the moment, making sure it's kept that way. But I'll tell you where it's going to be displayed. Obviously, as part of the future of all our programs, we've got the National Arthur Blank National Training Center, and the trophy will, the Copa America trophy will be proudly displayed down there, along with match jerseys. So I'm sure lots of people, lots of listeners here will do a tour of the training center at one point, and you'll certainly see the Copa America trophy there.
Another couple of minutes with Stuart Sharp, the head coach of the USCPMNT after the Copa America win over the last week. And you mentioned how the CP team has grown as a part of the US way. What are those next steps that need to happen for continued growth, for continued recognition, for continued understanding on the world level, whether it's by fans or by other national federations? What are the next steps that need to be taken? I guess you can take it from the extended program or you can take it from the CP specifically, but what are the next stages you would like to see the extended programs take?
Yeah, I'll start with the CP and then I'll expand. From CP soccer perspective, we just want people to understand there's opportunities out there for ambulant, good soccer players who are maybe playing mainstream soccer or college who've, had a stroke, traumatic brain injury, or born with cerebral palsy. Good soccer players, there's an opportunity to go and represent the US, wear that crest at the highest level. And then from an extended perspective, we're adding staff all the time. We just added a talent identification manager. We are just about to hire a full-time men's beach soccer coach and a full-time futsal men's soccer coach. So with these new appointments, we will certainly be spreading the net and hopefully increasing our footprint. In terms of our scouting footprint, but also their ability to grow the sport across the nation. So our vision is, no matter whether you have a disability, you have the confidence to go out there and play, or if you're living in an inner city and want to try out a different version of the game, you can play futsal or the coast beach or transition. One of the reasons we call it extended national team is that it's an extension of the game. So maybe someone out there plays 11-a-side soccer at a very good level and wants to try out beach soccer, or believe from their past, because they played futsal, that they have it to compete wearing this crest at the highest level. So the future's bright. I will say, I mentioned the training center. We've got futsal arena being built there just now. We're going to be hosting home games, same with beach soccer, same with power soccer and CP and DEF. So lots of opportunities for local spectators to come down and support the team. And of course, go on the US Soccer store. We've got bespoke t-shirts. Show your extended national team support by buying those t-shirts. And even next week, I will just add, just because it's exciting, we've got a double header coming up this weekend in Hartford with our deaf men's national team playing live just before the women's national team. So we're continuing to build this. We want other federations to follow in our footsteps. Many are already, but we want to stay ahead of them as well, right? We don't want people to catch us up. We're proud of what we're doing. We're proud of being leaders in this area and, global leaders across the world. So we want to continue there and not stop, not rest in our laurels. Keep pushing forward.
No, and I'm glad that you were reading my notes, because I wanted to discuss the double header coming up, and you mentioned that in Hartford, and I think that that's a really cool thing. That is a part of the television contract with U.S. Soccer, is that you get these double headers with the extendeds that are going to be there first as the front end of the double header in front of national team games. I think it's a great window to let everybody see what's going on with the extended side of things.
Yeah, I mean, having the opportunity not only to play in these stadiums and have it advertised as a double header and getting local support along, and our national team core fans along to support as many of our national teams as possible is important, and these doubleheaders provide that. And then, of course, having that reach across the nation that people can tune in and watch these games live and see the quality of our extended national teams play. And again, just to reiterate that we're going to have more of these opportunities as we build this with our training center, and hopefully take some games on the road as well, so more people can see the level of our extended national team players and see what it's like to be at the top level, and again, inspire more people to play the game, no matter their level of play.
Now all we have to do is convince the U.S. Soccer store to make the Copa America Championship T-shirts. Can we get those? Can we get those printed?
I think that'd be a great idea. Maybe I'll allow you to start that campaign. But
Hey.
I think if we can get people out there wearing those T-shirts, that would be fantastic.
We'll start the campaign. If we can go to our printer and maybe kind of sit there and say that we'll print something that might have something on it, but it might just be kind of just something to show, hey, do more of these, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, joking aside,
oh yeah,
at the federation, we need to celebrate anytime we win, and
Absolutely.
Again, we've got 27 teams. We've got, the 9 extended national teams and the 2 senior national teams, certainly, that are focused on winning.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime the US wins a global competition, a regional competition, we need to celebrate it. So I'm so pleased that we've done that with our CP, our men's team at Copa America. Our women's team won the Intercontinental Cup recently, and we've got our power soccer team about to go into Copa America. Our deaf team's about to go into Deaf Olympics. So it doesn't stop. So 2025 could be a great year for our extended national teams, and of course all US Soccer's national teams.
And it's always great that we can knock on your door and be able to catch up with you and find out about everything going on with the extended. And we couldn't pass up the opportunity to ask about the Copa and the title that you won with the CPMNT. Stuart, it's great to see you. Do not be a stranger. Come on in anytime you want to talk about things and update folks about everything going on with the CP and the extended. Great to see you, my friend. Welcome back. And make sure that the guardians of the gates have not taken your medal and put it someplace outside the safe where you can't find it.
I will do, and I'll tell Kevin to take a picture so you can see it side by side. Good stuff. I really appreciate you having me on again.
All right. Be good, Stuart. We'll see you soon.
Cheers. Bye.
There goes Stuart Sharp, head coach of the U.S. Cerebral Palsy men's national team, the CPMNT winners at the Copa America down in Uruguay last week. And yes, we're catching up with Jacob Crumley. That'll be on tape after the show is done today. That'll be aired across the platforms, so keep an ear and an eye out for that as well. But it's always great to catch up with Stuart and find out what's going on, because you sit there and you'll look at the double headers coming up with the U.S. national teams, and you'll sit there and you'll see the first match of the doubleheader being something that's extended. And I love the fact that you get to see that, and you get to see the growth of the game on a bunch of different fronts with the current contract under U.S. Soccer. So that's it's great to catch up with Stuart, and especially, could not resist the idea of talking after a win. And we got to get these T-shirts made. We got to get these Copa America T-shirts made. We have to do this. We got to figure out how to do that. That's going to be the fun part. So Stuart Sharp, and he, the technical director of the extended side and the head coach of the CPMNT. So big win for them and their first major title in a long time. But very, very cool moment for them on the weekend. And so we'll have more of that, more of the extended coverage, the extended coverage as we go here on the SDH network. Okay, let's go over what happened in Champions League yesterday and get you ready for everything there. And we will review what happened yesterday. And there's a lot of goals. And we'll get you into what happened today, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, any other news before we get out of here. So, all right. So yesterday in Champions League, we had an incredible amount of goals. We had red cards back-to-back that caused more goals and anything and everything in between. So yesterday in Champions League, I think it was reinforced, and Bart mentioned this in the timeline on the Twitch pitch. Yes, this Arsenal team, they are very good. and 4 goals in 13 minutes, and they end up there was a still of Diego Simeone from ATLUTD he just looked like he was completely and totally just shell-shocked after what happened yesterday, and I wouldn't blame him a bit. Arsenal 4-0 winners over ATLUTD at a -175. PSG put 7 on Bayer Leverkusen. You had 2 reds in the first half, so the match finished 10-10. Desiree Doué had 2 of the early goals for PSG as they were trying to distance themselves from Bayer Leverkusen. And just to kind of go over what happened, and this was the chaos of yesterday within the 7-2 win. Just to lay it all out for you. It was, no, I don't want the pop-up window. I don't care. Dembele and Doué, 5 goals, 2 reds, 2 penalties. So you had Pacho score in the 7th. Then you get Andrich with a red in the 33rd. So Leverkusen down to 10. But Garcia scores to make it 1-1 with 10-man Leverkusen. Desiree Doué basically said, yeah, and then I'll actually take it back. Zabarny gets a red, so we're 10-10 4 minutes later. Then Garcia scores the penalty to make it 1-1. That's how it was until Desiree Doué took over. Goal in the 41st. Kvaratskhelia scores in the 44th. Doué scores at 45 plus 3. So literally it was 4-1 at the break. Both teams playing with 10. Nuno Mendes scores in the 50th. Garcia scores in the 54th. Dembele and Vitinha 24 minutes apart. PSG put 7 on the board against Bayer Leverkusen, and they are now 3-0. Dortmund doubled Copenhagen 4-2. They were a favorite on the road. Newcastle shut out Benfica 3-0. And we keep talking about the long touchdown pass that Mark Pope had. And it was it was down the right-hand side, and it was a thing of beauty. 3-0, you spring folks, and then you end up with a goal on the board, -152. Newcastle takes care of business. PSV almost matched PSG. So PSV put 6 on the board against Napoli, and in that one, Ricardo Pepi comes off the bench and scores. PSV Eindhoven actually was trailing 1-0. Scott McTominay scored in the 31st to give them a 1-0 lead. Buongiorno scored an OG to make it 1-1. Saibari scored in the 38th, 2-1 at the break. Then you end up with a couple of goals. You end up with 3 goals in 10 minutes. Man Pepi and Driuesh scored in the 80th, 86th, and the 89th. McTominay scored in amongst all of that madness. 6-2, your final. PSV all over Napoli in that matchup. Then Inter shuts out Royal Union Saint-Gilloise 4-0. Manchester City kind of cruised 2-0 over Villarreal. Barcelona took no prisoners with Olympiacos winning 6-1 at a -370. And in that matchup, it was, let me check the rundown here. Fermin Lopez had a hat trick. Marcus Rashford had a brace. And Lamine Yamal had a penalty in the 68th. Heze red card for Olympiacos in the 57th. It wasn't close, and it was over early. Barcelona 6-1 winner there. And then Kairat Almaty in Kazakhstan. We talked about it being a 16-hour plane ride from Cyprus to Kazakhstan. You had a red card for Paphos, and they pretty much tried to pack it in for the other 86 minutes. Goalless draw in Kazakhstan with Kairat Almaty and Paphos. So that sets up today. You end up with a lot of the matchups here, and you've got 2 at 12:45. Galatasaray favored at home against Bodo Glimt at a -179. Bilbao favored at home against Karabag at a -303. Karabag a +826. Sporting favored at home against Marseille at a +121. Marseille at a +210. Real Madrid and Juve, we're keeping an eye on this one for obvious reasons. Real Madrid -213. Draws a +367. Juve a +527. These are now the 3 o'clockers. Monaco, dog at home, hosting Spurs at a +129. Monaco's a +200. Liverpool on the road a -175 at Eintracht Frankfurt, who's a +386. Chelsea, big favorite at home against Ajax at a -370. Ajax is a +890 to win on the road at Stamford Bridge. Bayern Munich, They're rolling over everybody, and they are a minus 714 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal against Club Brugge. Club Brugge are a plus 1542. Atalanta wraps up your 3 o'clockers today, and they host Slavia Prague. Atalanta is a minus 270. Slavia Prague is a plus 685. Now, getting into what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all the things. And then we'll take the tour and find out about any other stories that we might have missed. We got college soccer as well. Libertadores going on BN and BN and Espanol with the simulcast. Flamengo and Racing, that's at 8:30 tonight. And once again, Fanatis is the place to watch that. Apple TV and MLS Season Pass, your wild card games get the 12 minutes of pregame. So 8:42 in Bridgeview at Chicago on the purple team. Portland and RSL is at 10:42 tonight. And that's on Apple TV, MLS Season Pass. And you don't have to have the special subscription. Postseason's available if you just have a normal Apple TV subscription. 3 matches in the English Championship. Also, in addition to Champions League, Watford, West Brom, Wrexham, Oxford United, and Sheffield Wednesday and Middlesbrough. It will be interesting in the Sheffield Wednesday match how many folks show up. We'll see what the protests are and see if the match gets upheld or stopped for any reason. Starting at 3 o'clock in Wrexham. Right now, you figure this season for them in the championship, if they can just stay up, it'll be a success for them, and then they can figure out how to build going forward. But that is the pro activity today on all of your soccer channels. Today in college, it's a decent men's day. ACC Extra, ESPN Plus, that's where most of it is, just kind of touring. It is Kentucky and Georgia Southern at 7. You've got more Sun Belt and A10 action and the American. Georgia State and Coastal Carolina, that's at 7 o'clock tonight. That is also on ESPN Plus. You might know the voice if you watch that match. South Carolina Marshall in the Fun Belt at 7:10. You've got the Big West, and you have you've got Big West activity going on this evening at 9 and 10 o'clock on ESPN Plus. San Francisco and Stanford is on ACC Extra. This is a pretty decent women's day as well. You have OVC, you've got Ivy League, you have the UAC, Jacksonville, West Georgia. That's at 7. It is Big East. It is A10. It is Ohio Valley. You've got the Tupac, what will be the Tupac, Washington State, Oregon State on the Plus at 9 o'clock. Big West, San Francisco and Pacific, Pepperdine, Loyola Marymount, Portland, Seattle, and St. Mary's in San Diego. That's most of it's on the Plus. You can get some of it on ACC Extra. So that's what to watch, how to watch it, and where to watch it. Now, going through all of the other news of the morning, just to kind of get you through what's going on. Apparently, Newcastle had secured Sandro Tonali's future with a new deal that he signed during his gambling ban. Luke Edwards at the Telegraph reporting that he extended his contract after deciding he wanted to repay the club for the support that they gave him during his 10-month ban. There were fears that he was going to enter the final 2 years of his deal at the end of the season, which would have left them vulnerable. But because of Isak's departure, you now have Tonali extending his contract by 12 months back in 2023. So that is the new deal for Tonali. So Tonali added an option for another 12 months. Initially signed a 5-year deal when he arrived from AC Milan. Now effectively contracted to Newcastle until 2030, which will give the supporters a chance to catch their breath a little bit. So Tonali staying, added an extra 12 months when no one knew that he did. The Spanish League La Liga, they canceled the match in Miami, and they are now blaming the Premier League for it. Financial dominance of the English counterpart, Jeremy Wilson at the Telegraph. Financial dominance of its English counterpart forced it to take Villarreal and Barcelona to the U.S. in the first place, but that match has been scrapped following player backlash. You'll remember that players, because they were not consulted in the process, one match in particular over the weekend in the Liga, they just stood around at opening kick. Didn't do a thing. And so they did their own standing protest, and then they went ahead and continued playing the match. But you had it right there in the middle of the field. Whistle blows, players don't move. Since they were not consulted in the process, that's why they had their protest. La Liga specifically highlighted the English top flight soaring revenues and Spanish football's, quote, essential need to grow financially. UEFA had sanctioned the match this month alongside Milan and Como in Perth, Australia. But just like the idea of the 39th game that the Premier League wanted to have back in 2008, you had a lot of folks that were mad about it. Thibaut Courtois said that staging a Barcelona away match at the Hard Rock would distort the competition, undermining the home and away league format. And so Courtois was asked about it. And then their statement, due to the uncertainty surrounding Spain in recent weeks, La Liga said the match was then canceled to be played in Miami, continuing to reject accusations, according to Edwards, of distortion and instead highlighting the financial success of the Premier League. Revenue just over 7.1 billion euro in the 2023 financial year. La Liga was second, but the revenues were almost half of that, not even half of that, at 3.2 billion euro. And so La Liga comes out with a statement. Speaking of the timing, Marcelino, the Villarreal manager, said, quote, I'm just going to answer about this situation once. It is an absolute disrespect to communicate and talk about something at halftime of a Champions League game. It is absolutely disrespectful to the club, professionals, and board of directors and fans. Relevant, who was involved with organizing the match, said it had informed La Liga of the need to postpone the fixture. Quote, given the current uncertainty in Spain, there is insufficient time to properly execute an event of this scale. It would also be irresponsible to begin selling tickets without a confirmed match in place. So that is that is no more La Liga match at the Hard Rock or wherever they said that it was going to be. So no more match at the Hard Rock that is going to be in La Liga. So everything's back to normal, and all the matches in La Liga are going to be in country. So that's nothing else to worry about there. DAZN is targeting global broadcasting rights in the latest football move involving Saudi Arabia from our friends at The Guardian. Matt Hughes came out this morning. DAZN is preparing to bid for Champions League games from 2027. Saudi's Surge Sports Investment brought a 10% stake in DAZN for $1 billion back in February, 2 months after they had agreed to pay the same sum to FIFA for exclusive global rights to the Club World Cup. DAZN claimed an audience of 2.7 billion for the Club World Cup, and a figure understood to relate to total views rather than individual viewers, and social media engagement of 10 billion using the same metric. Encouraged by these figures, DAZN wants global rights for the Champions League, the main innovation in UEFA's Champions League tender process for the 27-31 cycle, which was launched this month. UEFA has made a global rights package available for the first time, the winning platform getting the first pick of the Tuesday game in each match round to stream in every market. Joint venture that unites European football clubs, which used to be the ECA, with UEFA UC3, is understood to value these single-game global rights at about £440 million a year, 10% of their valuation for all the Champions League matches. That would make a 4-year rights deal worth about £1.75 billion. Relevant is handling the tender process, and they're supposed to attract offers from everybody: Netflix, Amazon, Disney+, DAZN, and they're all looking to bid, despite DAZN walking away from the Ligue 1 deal. And DAZN is one of the few companies, according to the article at The Guardian, with the technology and worldwide reach to make a success of global streaming, 63-game live coverage of the Club World Cup passing off without any problems. So DAZN looking to dive into the world of Champions League, and they're looking at that leadoff game when it comes to the new deal from 27 to 31. I'm trying to check and see if I've missed anything else that is out there this morning. I don't believe we have, but I think we're good in all of that. Quick reminder, Cooper Sanchez, John O'Ransom, they have been named to their respective U17 squads for the U17 World Cup. Cooper for the U.S. squad, John O'Ransom for the Canadian U17 team. So tomorrow, here's what's going on tomorrow. It is, once again, the Power Hour and hour number 2 with Nino and Nico. We'll travel the planet, let you know what's going on. We'll look at Champions League. We'll catch up with Jacob Kremley from the USCPMNT. That one is being recorded in just a little bit, and that'll be available to you on all of our platforms, breaking down everything as well, getting his thoughts on the growth of the CP men's national team and what it was like to go down to Uruguay and come back with a medal and a trophy. We're going to catch up with him as well. And then that'll do it for today. We're chasing after interviews for Red Clay, the Georgia soccer report, and we are also catching up with our friends with the Prague Raptors for the Roots and find out how a guy from Leeds is now running a club in Czechoslovakia. So we'll be back at it again in less than 22 hours. thanks once again to Stuart Sharp, the men's head coach for the U.S. Cerebral Palsy men's national team, after their comeback, coming back into country after getting the win in the Copa America 4-1 in their tournament, the first major trophy, second regional championship in the 33-year history of the program back in Uruguay less than a week ago. So thanks to Stuart, and keep an eye out for, and just for all of the extended teams, add them to your coverage. And add them to everything that you're watching these days when it comes to the growth of U.S. soccer. It's really cool stuff that they continue to build when it comes to the extended national teams. Stuart's the senior TD for the extended team. He has been for 3 years, and for the program for 3 years. And he's been the CP national team head coach since 2014. So it's great to catch up with Stuart, great to catch up with Dylan, great to catch up with Tyler, great to catch up with all y'all. It's a busy show. It's a busy time of year, and we will add to it more in tomorrow morning at 9:05 Eastern time. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. And since it is the end of the show, that means we get to do this. Back at it again, 9:05 Eastern time tomorrow morning. Much plati, I'll play it safe. We'll see you soon.